Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CEO Speaker Series. I'm Caden Vittorini, the CEO and founder of It Factor, your host. And today we're joined by Shawn Seipler, who is the founder and CEO of Clean the World, a global leader in hygiene and sustainability. Since 2009, the organization has distributed over 88 million bars of recycled soap to underserved communities in 127 countries and diverted more than 25 million pounds of waste from landfills. Under Shawn's leadership, Clean the World has partnered with over 8,000 hotels and resorts to turn discarded hygiene products into life-saving resources. He has been featured on CNN, the Freakonomics podcast, and numerous sustainability forums for his work in social impact and public health innovation. This series is all about asking leaders what they wish they were new in college. So let's dive into it. So let's start back with, you as a student, your path from student to CEO. Tell us a little about that path, Shawn. Maybe it's your first job, major career decisions, and just overall leadership milestones.
Yeah, Kaden, thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to, I'm sure, a wonderful, smart, bright, intelligent group of students, which I get to lecture at universities all over the world. So it's usually my most favorite group to communicate with. So my journey, number one, I was an entrepreneur as of a very young age. I had my first lemonade stand. I had my first, which expanded into popcorn and cookies and trinkets and all kinds of things when I was like 8 years old. When I got into middle school and high school, I started, washing cars and doing landscaping and washing windows and babysitting and just always had an entrepreneurial kind of mind and spirit about me. My college journey is interesting. I went to 6 colleges. I went to University of Wisconsin Parkside, University of Wisconsin Whitewater, North Harris Community College, University of Houston, Texas State University. And during my sort of senior year at University of Houston, I started selling technology, the first Windows-based systems to trucking companies. And I was very successful at it. And so the entrepreneurial sort of string in me saw that I was starting to become very successful in selling technology. And so at that time, I made the decision that it was better for me to focus more on selling. I needed to do a bunch of weekend travel. I was implementing companies. I was training them. So there was more money involved if I was able to spend more time at it. And so I kind of went through a process in my mind where I said, hey, I'm going to college in order to improve my career, in order to kind of put myself in a position to succeed. And I'm in a position now where I can succeed further if I don't go. So I actually left about my junior, senior year, but I learned so much. I was a finance major. So what I took from my accounting courses, my finance courses, my economics courses, as now I run a global company and have offices around the world, was just so instrumental in, and I draw back on those things so much today, in business. But my college journey was really fun. I had a great time, made great relationships, had some great professors and teachers who really, again, poured into me. And so that was really instrumental to the impact and the work that we're doing today.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like quite a journey. And I want to stay in college for a second. What's a myth about success that you believed as a college student, and what was that actual reality?
Well, I think a myth is that, there's like some magic that has to happen in order for you to be successful. I mean, success for me, there's really 2 primary sort of terms that I use. And I teach, I lecture. I've also run the largest AAU youth football cheer club in the country. So when I was speaking to my young athletes, hard work pays off. There's no substitute for that. If you just work hard, you're going to get the results. There's going to be a payoff for you. And so, you are the determiner of how hard you work, of how much effort you put in, of how hard you try. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most ingenious. You don't have to be a great engineer or a great a musician or whatever. If you just work hard at it, you'll get better at it. And so number one is hard work pays off, and the second one is to plan your work and then work your plan. I think there's no other. Again, there's planning, thinking about it, mapping out what your next steps are, and then following those plans, seeing how those original plans actually changed or didn't change when you're going through the process so that you can become a better planner in the future. it's just so important to me, right? If we're going to get into anything, if we're going to launch a new product, if we're going to create a new program, any of those things, planning that work really well, and then working that plan and understanding that there's going to be iterations and there's going to be audibles and things that you're going to have to change along the way. But when you make that plan and create that plan, when you have your why really understood, that'll also help guide and lead some of those iterations and some of those changes that have to make. So to me, that not a secret sauce in being successful. Work hard, plan your work your plan, and then just sort of let those two things really drive, and I think the success will come from just doing some of those basic things.
That's awesome. That's really great, Shawn. And so where you're at today, you're a successful entrepreneur. If you could go back and talk to your college self, what's one thing you would tell him right now?
Well, number one, I would tell my college self to finish and get the degree. Okay, so that's the first thing I wish I would have done. I have 5 children, 4 from college age. It's the same thing with them. We got to get our college degrees. That's the first thing I would have done. I could have done that, I think, while also working, and so I would have worked that out. Number one. Number two is, just stay the course. I think there's so many times, especially in college, that there's a lot of fear and anxiety about what's to come. And am I going to succeed? And there's, is this a really challenging jobs market? Or the things, is the career that I want to get into, is that going to be available? And am I going to make it? And so I just think there's a lot of unnecessary sometimes pressure and anxieties that befall college students, and I certainly dealt with as well. And if I could go back and tell myself, a couple things. One is, it's going to be okay. Stay the course. Keep working hard, keep planning it out, and you got a lot of time. There's plenty of time. I think there's a lot of pressures that you've got to be successful right away, and I think there's a positive in the ability for everybody, especially college students, to very quickly and easily see success stories. I mean, you can, podcasts and YouTube channels and Instagram, TikTok, you can see these things so much quicker than when I was a college student. You're reading a magazine, you're reading a book, it took you a little longer to get some of those successes. I think because there's so much of that around so easily to access, I think that puts unnecessary pressure sometimes on college students. So I've got to succeed now. I've got to figure it out now. And I think that can be harmful. So yeah. I think I could go back and tell myself, hey man, chill out. It's going to be all right. Don't put that pressure on you. Enjoy these years, really enjoy them, because there's going to be amazing experiences and travels and things that you're going to be able to do at this age that you're not going to be able to do when you start your family, when you have a job. You're going to be tied down to a lot of things. So I would really go back and tell myself to sort of, ease up on the pressure a little bit, and just enjoy life, and just continue to build those disciplines of working hard and of planning your workout.
Awesome. That's a great response, Shawn. And what's one major obstacle that you faced earlier in your career as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome that?
Well, when I started my company in a garage 17 years ago, which really came out of me, I was a frequent traveler. I was in hotel rooms 4 nights a week, and I was running a global sales team for a technology company at the time. And in a hotel room one night, I wondered what happened to the little bar of soap and the little bottle of shampoo. When I was done using it, I realized that, or I called the hotel front desk, and they told me to throw it all away. I kind of put together that we were throwing away millions of bars of soap every day from hotels across the globe. And at the same time, there were 9,000 children under the age of 5 that were dying every day to hygiene-related illnesses. And if I could just figure out how to get the soap, recycle it, and get it into the hands of those children who were dying, I could make a really profound difference and impact across the globe. So I had this incredible mission driving my, what put me in the garage, basically, with family members, as we all sat around on upside down pickle buckets with potato peelers, scraping the outside of bars of soap we were collecting from hotels across Orlando. We grind it up, we cook it up, and we would recycle it and make new bars out of it. So while I had this incredible mission kind of driving what we were doing, reducing landfill waste, saving lives through hygiene, through soap, distribution to people around the world, I was not thinking as much about probably the financial side as I should have. And so, again, I lecture at universities around the globe to social entrepreneurs. And a social entrepreneur, right, is somebody who is an entrepreneur who wants to create awesome impact, who wants to make the world a better place, but they need to marry that with strong business technique and business acumen. You got to have the business principles in place. And even though I was very familiar with selling multi-million-dollar tech deals to Fortune 100, Fortune 1000 companies, I was not very good at sort of the nonprofit world and how to ask people for donations and money. And I found out I was really bad at it, in fact. So I didn't treat with care, I think, the business side of it, the money side of it, because I just thought that because I had such a great mission that a bunch of people would just give me money, would donate money to me, just because the mission was so strong. And that turned out to not be the case. Still had to have really strong business technique, business acumen. So if I go back and talk to myself in the early days, it would be, be smarter about your cash and your money, hang on to it. I would have structured the company differently. Today, we're a social enterprise. So we're a hybrid of a global for-profit entity, a B Corp, as well as a global nonprofit. I would have structured both of those in place when I started, not just launched as a nonprofit, because that was a mistake looking back at it. So those are some of the things that I would have told myself and educated myself when I started the company.
Yeah, that's really good. And I want to talk about current students today. You have children of your own. You speak at universities. So what do you think is the biggest challenge that current college students face right now?
Yeah, I think that the biggest challenge that college students face sometimes is the pressure that they put on themselves. I think that there's a lot of pressure to succeed. There's a lot of pressure to make money, to travel, to do things that you got to kind of work your process to get to. And so, I would say, hey, don't put that unnecessary pressure on yourself. Continue to do the things you need to better yourself. Do the additional leadership training like you are right here with SCLA. Do the additional clubs and have those additional opportunities to learn what interests you and what is the most important thing to you. A lot of times, even the pressure of whatever is my major, that's the career I've got to get into. That doesn't happen a lot of the time. A lot of the time, your major is not the career you end up being in. Don't put the pressure on yourself that you got to get it perfectly right now, because I'm signing myself up to the next 30, 40 years of work, and I've got to make sure it's what I love. Those things can change. And we live in a world where, just having your degree, for example, is so much more important than what you majored in. Now, there's some specific careers, if you're going into medical, if you're going into legal, if you're going into, engineering, that type of thing, where you probably have to have those specific, disciplines. But so much other of it doesn't matter. We have folks that work in our global impact company that have psychology degrees, that have history degrees, that have social economics degree. Just things that some of them seem like they matter and others probably have nothing to do with what we do, but they're such good quality individuals, and they were enriched when they were in college because they really enjoyed that experience. They dug in and they dove into so many different opportunities like SCLA. So I just think, don't let that pressure drive. You've got time, enjoy, and really, get, I think, try to get as much experience as you can, as many experiences as you can when you're in college.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying, just work hard, follow your heart, follow your passion, and realize that you're not supposed to have it figured out as a sophomore in college. Just continue to show up every single day and do what's going to move you forward. It's kind of what I took away from that. So love that. And I want to jump into a lightning round here, and I'm going to ask you 6 fun questions, and I want you to answer in like 10 seconds or less. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Your favorite college class?
Was economics.
Your go-to coffee order?
Just Americano with tons of cream and sugar.
Best book or podcast recommendation?
33 Strategies of War.
Best productivity hack?
Best productivity hack?
Yes.
Working hard, just continuing to put the effort in.
Your dream mentor, he or she could be dead or alive?
It is my father. My father's my biggest mentor.
I love that. And lastly, what's something that you do every day that helps you stay grounded?
Work out, ride my bike, do my walk, hit the gym.
There we go. Same here. A couple more questions here. So what are 3 traits, habits, or skills that helps you go from a student to a successful CEO?
Again, the theme, I think, of what I've been talking about is hard work. There's no substitute for working hard and for, and again, for planning, right? For ensuring that you're planned up. I think it's important to know that leaders are there to not just sort of lead, but to serve. Leaders are there to help those that they lead succeed. So as a really good leader, if you're in tune with those that you're leading, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where do they succeed? Put them in positions to succeed. Where do they struggle? Help them with those struggles. Help them figure out how to get better at what they do. Maybe avoid some of the things that they struggle in terms of where you may place them. Those are the types of things that I think matter as a leader. I think another important trait for a leader is to really understand, especially as a CEO, is how important culture really is for an organization. I view culture as an operating system. So how do you want your teams, your company to operate? How do you want them to treat each other? How do you want them to treat the mission and the cause of the business? How do you want them to show up every day? What do you want them to have? Grit and determination? Do you want them to be empowered? Do you want them to have open communication, or do you want them to be to be able to take orders really well and just go drive orders? Whatever those things are that are most important, that's really got to be defined in your culture. And I think it's very important for leaders to really dig in to establish that culture, to articulate it, and then to lead. And I think leading by serving, those that are part of your team.
Love that. And there's so many great things today, Shawn, but if students could only remember 10 seconds from this interview, I know that's going to be hard, but 10 seconds, what should it be?
Hard work pays off. Plan your work and work your plan. Those two things, there's no substitute for that.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shawn, and thanks to everyone who's watching. If something resonated with you today, share it with a friend or mentor. These conversations are meant to inspire action and change. We'll see you next time on the CEO Speaker Series. Thank you again.